I got some secrets I gotta share with you. How's it going, everybody? Zeddy here with a brand new upload, and we are here to talk about the heroic Tavern Brawl and how most people are probably not going to be playing it unless you are a very well-seasoned Hearthstone player or a veteran or a competitive player or a pro player. Odds are you are not going to be able to get all of the Tavern Brawl rewards unless you are really freaking good at the game, as well as bringing a deck that is absolutely worth it. So before you guys even think about attempting the Tavern Brawl, there are two things that you have to keep in mind. Number one, if you only get one win, you get one pack. Not really worth it in that aspect if you don't think that, if you're not very confident in your skills. And even I myself, out of all the Tavern Brawls that have existed, I have only gotten the 12 wins once, and that was when the Psy Hero portrait was available, and that's the only time that I've ever gotten 12 wins in the Tavern Brawl. I've gotten 11 wins more times than I can count, and today, and on yesterday's stream, I ended up going 8-3 as well as 4-3, and that 4-3 was particularly more frustrating because I started 3-0, and then bad things can happen because I was top decking Druid every single moment. But just be aware of what you're getting into before you play the Tavern Brawl. Mainly for one other reason, though. Most likely there is going to be a mini set update within the next week or two. Probably within the next 2 weeks is going to be my guess. But this happens literally every single time right before a mini set comes out. They do this heroic Tavern Brawl. I don't know if this is to sink your gold and to potentially get more money out of more people, or if this is a way of Blizzard being like, well, let's give people a way of earning more gold. If they have 1,000 gold, yeah, that last one's probably not true. But I'm trying to make Blizzard look like the good guy here in at least one aspect. Regardless, the mini set will be coming out in the next week or two. So if you have 1,000 gold that you don't want to use, or maybe it's probably 2,000 gold. It's actually 2,000 gold. Make sure you save at least 2,000 gold if you are wanting to buy the mini set, if you are not just going to buy it outright with money. But for those of you guys that actually want to be a part of the Tavern Brawl, I have some very funny news. Pyrotechnician is not banned in the Brawlseum. If you've missed Fire Druid, this is the time for you to be playing Pyrotechnician, because apparently someone was able to go 12 wins with this deck and secure their 3 legendary cards. And I find it very upsetting that they didn't actually post the rewards alongside it. But instead of just going through the decks in the client like I usually do, I'm literally just going to go over every single one of these Twitter posts in order to give you an idea of what decks can do very well within the Tavern Brawl. But as of right now, the best way of doing it is just to play the best decks on ladder, or a deck you are very, very efficient with. Because the weird thing about Tavern Brawl is that you will see some people playing some very off-meta stuff, but it won't be that common. You will still see those rogue decks. You still will see a lot of Druids. There's actually a decent amount of Death Knights when I was playing as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other decks that are playable right now. Rushinho ended up getting Legend with Dragon Druid, typical Dragon Druid with a Razorscale in order to beat up on rogues, for example, so that way they don't have a bunch of 0 mana interactions. So that can be a deck that's very easy to pilot. It just kind of depends on how well you see certain lines, and that you just cannot misplay. You are not allowed to misplay in the Tavern Brawl, and if you are not confident in playing 100% perfectly, and I do mean 100% perfectly, then you should not be a part of the Tavern Brawl. And that's the reason why I've got my hood up, is because I'm telling you guys all these super special secrets and whatnot. So yeah, just don't play the Tavern Brawl if you don't feel like you can play it 100% perfectly. Another deck that you can do well with is the Pyrotechnician in Thaddius Druid. It's a fun deck. It's a fun APM deck. Don't play it on mobile. Good old-fashioned Nature Shaman. Norwis is actually, I think, 24-2 with Nature Shaman right now, so he is just absolutely milking the expansion by going 12-0 and then 12-2 on his last runs with Nature Shaman. It's the same old list that we've been talking about for a couple of months now. So yeah, if you like Nature Shaman, apparently it can do very well within the Tavern Brawl. And here's a very weird one, and all of these deck codes will be down below, so you guys don't have to, go through these posts and whatnot. But if you also want another way of being able to look at these, you can literally go to my Twitter, and you can go to my likes, and you will see all of these posts available. So if you just go to my like tweets, you will be able to see all of these if you guys are, well, I guess not lazy enough to get the deck code. Regardless, there's plenty of places to find these decks. But Reno Paladin is a deck that can work very well, and I'm actually not surprised by this being a consistent deck, because Reno Paladin is starting to make somewhat of a resurgence at top legend, because every single time I go up against it, I just tend to lose. I don't know why. Reno decks always draw perfectly, but you can have success with a Reno deck and get yourself some very nice rewards. Finally, we get a screenshot of someone putting the rewards so you guys can see just how much 1,000 gold can get you, but you gotta be really freaking good at the game, so make sure that you are a pro gamer before you start doing this. Someone ended up going 12-2 with XL Odyn Warrior. Makes a lot of sense. Like, XL decks seem to be getting a lot of love because it is a scam or be scammed meta. But if you have enough life gain and enough ways of being able to clear boards, then there are ways that you can beat the scam decks. Just know that you are going to have to be very patient against rogues that are always generating and generating and generating. But XL Warrior, this is a deck that I see on ladder all the time. It seems to be making a comeback, and it's a great way of making use of the buffed Excavate cards. Aside from that, there is also typical just Reno Dragon Druid, where this is actually a deck that I'll be making a video here pretty soon because I played this yesterday. The whole point of this deck is that you have the consistency of the mid game of the dragons. So you have, you know, Nest Matron into like Seedsman in order to ramp up very quickly. This is essentially what Ramp Druid looks like now. So you have all of these cards that help you draw, help you tutor out very specific cards in order to make your Highlander cards active. But more importantly, you've got Fizzle. Fizzle is a great way of being able to double up on Rastraza and the Reno mirror, so that way you don't have to worry about Reno deleting your very hard-earned egg, as well as actually doubling up Reno himself, which can be very useful as a druid that doesn't have a lot of AoE. You can also double up the Yogg. Yogg is not 15 mana anymore, it's still 9 mana, so just keep this in mind. But yeah, this Druid deck seems like a really good option if you want to get 12 wins. I would argue it's probably one of the easier ways of doing it if you know what you're doing with Druid. And here's another person that went 12-2 with the Reno Dragon Druid. Exact same deck, the Fizzle, the double Whelp, the double on specific cards. There might be a few small changes because I think I see a Spine-tailed Dragon in here. Here is the deck list, so yep. This deck is a little bit different with a few extra cards like Viper and the Drake. I don't know what other cards are missing, but this just proves the point that Reno Druid is actually really good for you to play if you want to get some free wins. And then you have Thaddius Warlock. This is what the deck is behind here. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can see Thaddius right here. Good old-fashioned Thaddius Warlock, where Janos was able to go 12-0. Very clean as the very first person to get 12 wins from what I noticed on Twitter. So Thaddius Warlock is a deck that is extremely difficult. Make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. You have to know all of your outs before you even begin playing a game. Make sure you have that experience, and then you can get 12 wins with Thaddius Warlock as well. There are still a couple more decks that I want to show you guys. I don't think there's that many left, though. This is going to be a very short video compared to the other Brawlzium videos that I've done. But another 12-1 for Norwis, Nature Shaman, pretty good freaking deck. Then you have Thunderbringer Excavate Mining Rogue. Holy crap, what? Being able to turn the Scourge Illusionist into a Thunderbringer is actually kind of ingenious, low-key, not gonna lie. I don't think this deck is very consistent, but regardless, Scourge Illusionist being able to hit something other than Drilly if you do have the unfortunate occurrence of actually drawing said Drilly. So you should be okay with this sort of deck if you want to play a little bit of an easier version of Excavate Rogue. But it's still a deck that is very dependent on Velorock, very dependent on getting those Scorpion draws. And without ways of being able to bounce it outside of Shadow Step, you're going to make sure that your Scorpion scams are very effective, very efficient. So make sure you check that out if you want to play a different version of Rogue. Someone apparently went 12-2 with Reno Priest. I am not going to tell you to play Reno Priest. That is the decision you're going to have to come up with by yourself. If you really want to be that guy that plays Reno Priest, then go ahead and do it. Just know that you are going to get bullied by scam decks unless you play very, very effective and you only use your AoEs when you absolutely need them. So yeah, Reno Priest. I wouldn't recommend it, but there are some people that are having success with it. Another Odyn Warrior, this time without the XL package, so you still have a way of being able to play good old-fashioned old reliable. That's what I like to call Odyn Warrior because this deck does not feel like it is going to go away as long as Odyn is in rotation. However, there is one other thing to keep in mind when rotation comes up. We might be losing some armor cards, but that is a conversation for a different day. Well, the last deck that I could show you guys is Tempo Sludge Warlock. Apparently, I was wrong about this archetype. This archetype is not only emerging at top legend, but it is also emerging within the Tavern Brawl, and I am seeing this deck a lot more frequently. However, I am not seeing the same lists over and over and over again. This seems to be one of those decks that goes through a lot of like mini changes until people find out the perfect list. Because originally I saw everyone running Symphony of Sins, and then I saw a couple of decks that were not running it. Now people are going back to running it. A new card that people are running is Disciple of Sargeras, which is another card that I sometimes see people omitting and then also including. So I think that this actually might be the list for Tempo Sludge Lock if you guys are really interested in playing a deck like that. But yeah, these are all the decks that I would recommend that I saw other people get 12 wins with, and now I can take off the hood because all the secrets have been revealed. But regardless, if you guys want to play in the Tavern Brawl, you gotta make sure that you are playing perfectly, because this is the mode that I like to refer to as stealing people's lunch money. So if you enter the arena and you've got money that people can easily take because you decided to queue Unholy DK, you will not do well, and you will sink 1,000 gold for essentially one pack. That is not good value. So if you're gonna play the Tavern Brawl, make sure you know 100% what you're getting into, make sure you understand the deck that you are playing without any faults, and make sure that when you are actually in game, you are focused, you are paying attention, and you are playing your very best. Do not do this while you're watching Netflix or anything like that. Otherwise, you will sink gold. And don't forget, there is a mini set coming out in the next week or two after this Tavern Brawl. So yeah, don't sink all of your gold if you are very dependent on that gold for actually getting the mini set. And another thing that you should not forget is to subscribe to the channel, to like this video, to do all of that nonsense. I'm not going to talk anymore because I've done a lot of talking, and honestly, I'm very hungry and I want to eat. So thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. Shout out to the Patreon in case you guys are checking out the Patreon. You can get up extra perks and bonuses for supporting the content, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to go ahead and eat some food now. So make sure you guys know what you're doing for the Tavern Brawl, do your homework, and we'll see you for the next video.